Hi, everybody. Welcome to the third episode of my new show. Tonight, I'm going to be talking about the first female gangster in American history, and the only one whose identity has never been figured out. Her name is Vivian Chase. I'll be right back with her story. So, Vivian Chase, not even historians know her true identity to this day, and I really doubt they ever will, or what state she was born in, what year. Most accounts say she was born sometime between 1900 and 1903, most likely either in Nebraska or Missouri. But as I said, they don't know for sure. Um, First records of her aren't till about 1921, when she married a man named George Chase, who was a big time bootlegger, bank robber, petty thief, that kind of person. Um, she claimed that her real name was Vivian Davis. The only problem with that was the Vivian Davis that she claimed to be passed away in 1920 when she was about 18 or 19. So we really don't know for sure who she was. Um, Between 1923 and 1926, her husband George, and several of their friends were involved in bootlegging, petty thefts, burglaries, robberies, fighting, drunkenness, that sort of thing. And they were in and out of jail for that 3 year period until he was actually gunned down in a drunken fight with several of his friends. And again, she got released for no evidence. And for several years, she just disappeared. There was absolutely no record of her for almost 6 years. And then from April to June of 1932, her and a man by the name of Luther Jordan, who was apparently her boyfriend at that time, robbed several small banks and stores throughout Kansas, Nebraska, and Missouri and Oklahoma. And they were actually captured in Oklahoma in late June, early July of 1932. And he received a 50-year sentence for their robberies. But in early October of 1932, she escaped from the county jail down in Oklahoma that she was being held at and went on the run. So she makes her way to St. Louis, and she teamed up with a guy named Walter O'Malley and some other underworld type people from that area. And they committed several robberies from probably November of 1932 to June of 1933. And then in July of 1933, with O'Malley and a couple of his friends, they kidnapped a retired 80-year-old banker from Illinois. And they transported him to their hideout near St. Louis. And they held him there for about 6 days. But this guy was in really poor health. And they became concerned that he was going to pass away before they got any ransom money. So they took him and dropped him back off at home without ever having received any money from their kidnapping attempt. So they all went on the run and went their separate ways. And throughout 1934 and 1930 into 1935, she again disappeared. There was really no trace or records of her anywhere. And then from May to September of 1935, her and an unidentified male, who was evidently her new boyfriend slash crime partner, committed several small bank and store robberies all over Missouri, Kansas, and Oklahoma without being caught or identified. So on November 3rd, 1935, she was found in a parked car in the passenger seat of a parked car in the parking lot of a hotel near a hotel by the hospital in St. Louis with a pistol in her hand, and she had been shot once. And whoever had shot her apparently drove her there thinking that she would be found and be saved, but unfortunately that didn't happen. And it appeared that she was going to be buried, in an unmarked grave. Nobody was going to pay for her funeral. Well, as she was being prepared to be buried, the funeral home got an anonymous call, most likely from the male person that she had been robbing with, the guy that had killed her, and he left a large sum of money on the doorstep at the funeral home, as well as some of her clothes to be buried in. And she was buried in a cemetery near St. Louis under her nickname of Vivian Chase. She was somewhere between 30 to 35 years old, roughly, at that time. Um, as I said, nobody really knows for sure who she was. She'd even threatened multiple crime partners and boyfriends that she would kill them if they ever spoke a word about who she truly was and where she came from. Now, if you're going to go to that lengths to hide your identity, to threaten people, to steal somebody else's identity and pass yourself off as that person, you must be hiding a pretty big secret, you know? You wouldn't do that just if you were just like wanted for something small or something. So I think she was harboring a pretty big secret. And my theory as to her identity was in the late 1800s, there was a family called the Benders who were from Kansas. And they ran a hotel slash inn where they would rob, abduct, and kill people who were lodging there for the night as they were heading from Indiana out west, you know, through Kansas, that type of thing. I personally believe that she is or was offspring of the Bender family. Um, Again, we don't know for sure who she was, where she came from, or everything. That's just my theory. Um, so that is the life and crimes of the first female gangster in American history, and the only one whose identity has never been revealed, Vivian Chase. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys liked it, and I'll be back next week with another video. Thanks.